Welcome to the source. The source. Source. Hey, get the source.
Yo, happy Friday to all. Hope you all had a nice Thursday night. I had a good one, man. I wish I bet that NBA thing that I said on the show. I didn't bet that. I gave it out as a pick. I didn't personally bet it. For those of you that missed the show earlier, I said Mavericks first half, Utah full game, money line. It was plus 811, and the shit hit. Damn. I should have put a few dollars on it. But yeah.
Played the Jazz because of you.
Yeah, well, Jazz hit. They won outright. Yep. Tulsa hit. And then Eagles, I bet the team total, which obviously the Eagles team total got hooked. The kicker missed 2 field goals and a PAT. I lost by the hook. But we live bet Eagles money line at plus 145 in the Discord. So made money on that. It was a good Thursday night. Wasn't a ton of action, but made a few dollars, had some fun. We're now rolling into Friday. We got a lot of basketball on. Also some good college football. There's no NFL on, obviously, because it's Friday, but it's a really good Friday night. I uploaded a video where I went through the 4 college football games, if you want to check that out after the stream. We're going to go through, I think we picked out 4 college basketball games for right now. We'll probably go through some more tomorrow on the live show. These are probably the 4 biggest ones that we picked out. So let's get it started. Florida State, I'm guessing neutral court here?
No.
Not a neutral court. So this is in Tallahassee.
Correct.
Yeah. Yep.
I want to play the Noles, but I am kind of allergic to Florida State after this fall.
Well, let me tell you something. I bet Florida pregame, so I would bet the Noles money line, and I would bet a 2 units on the Noles plus 5 as well. So, just for the record. But, yeah, Andy, go ahead.
I bet Florida.
You did
Florida?
too?
What?
Did you bet Florida too?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
They're an interesting team because I think they are probably the best 3-point shooting team in the SEC, but they really aren't shooting the 3-pointer very well yet. So I think they're doing that aspect, and Florida State doesn't necessarily defend the 3 well. The only reason they're winning games because their opponents are missing a lot of threes, but it's not necessarily their perimeter defense. They're not a good team. This Florida State team, I think you had Northern Kentucky covering against them. They're a very lowly looked at team. They're probably one of the worst teams in the ACC. This Florida team, I know they've got some off the court issues to deal with, but they looked good on the court the other day against Grambling with all that going on. Like, they're a significantly better team here. Everything kind of points to Florida. I don't know what this line opened at, but everything I looked at was Florida. Rebounding has actually been their only issue this year, which is surprising because they are usually one of the better rebounding teams. They haven't been able to replace Hand-Logden yet, but I think they'll figure that out against Florida State. Yeah, I like Florida a lot here. This one was the easiest, in my opinion, to look at.
You like Florida a lot.
Yeah.
Florida State's handled their business, man.
It's me. It was more for me, less about Florida. It was more about Florida State and how bad they have been, and how bad I think they are in general. Andy talked about Florida and their struggles on the 3-point line themselves. I think that we could both agree that positive regression is going to come sooner or later. Maybe not tomorrow against this Florida State team, but it's going to continue to get better. I truly believe that. My point to that is it's not like Florida State is good offensively at all. They're shooting about 20% from deep, which is good for like 346 in the nation, which again, they've played 3 games, but those 3 games were Northern Kentucky, where again, Northern Kentucky is about 180, 200 in KenPom, and they looked not very good. They had a lucky win over Rice, and then they beat Tarleton State, who's in the 280s or whatever in KenPom as well. And to be honest with you, they didn't even look good against Tarleton. The first half was really, really shaky. They had a good 10-minute run to start the second half. And besides that, Tarleton State played them extremely close. So again, KenPom has this 4. I made it 7.5. I bet Florida at 5. I just think they're too big and too skilled all over the floor. Again, Florida State can play defense. I will give them that, but Florida can score at will at some time. So and the huge advantage as far as experience wise goes to Florida as well. But again, I just don't think that Florida State is a good basketball team. They turn the ball over a lot. They can't hit threes. They can't defend the threes very well. And oh, by the way, they're shooting like 65% from the free throw line. So and they're fouling a lot too. So it's just really hard to find something that you like about Florida State besides the fact that they've beat up on bad teams and they're very big. They're one of the biggest teams in the country, but that's about it.
So it looks like this line dropped from 5.5 down.
Hey, you just mentioned Florida State's offensive struggles. For reference, they've scored 72, 73, and 74 in their 3 games. Florida scored 86, 81, 98. They're a really good offensive team. You're going to need to score almost 80 plus to beat Florida this year.
And just to add insult to injury to that, against Northern Kentucky, 74 points on 77 possessions. Rice, 73 points on 71 possessions. Tarleton State, 72 points on 73 possessions. So it's really not even that impressive what they're doing. They're just kind of moseying their way through these things.
So I'm putting the Noles up, but guys, I'm not into college basketball. I'll start getting into it in January. But it seems like everyone's picking Florida. The line dropped from 5.5 to 5, even 4.5 on a couple books. I'll go on Knowles Island by myself. But again, I'm just the host.
I thought it opened 4.5, and now it's at 4.5.
It looks like I got mixed signals here. FanDuel opened at 5.5.
Oh, you're good. You can. I was gonna say shit. You can get 4.5 on FanDuel right now.
FanDuel opened at 5.5, just dropped to 4.5. But it looks like another book opened at 4.5, went up to 5.5, and came back down. Whatever. Regardless, I'm just the host here. I'm not handicapping college basketball, not till January.
No, but you know how to read a line, so that's.
I do the best I can. 163.5. Oh, actually, I'm just gonna put total and pass. People like to have pass as an option in the poll. All right. Next up this has got to be neutral court.
Nope.
There's no Purdue's catching points.
Yeah, this line made no sense to me. I don't know what Toast has to say.
What are we doing?
I've already bet Alabama money line, so
you have Alabama. Yeah, on KenPom they are 2-point favorites. So this line made no sense to me. At home against Alabama, Alabama's not shooting well. The last game they played, they didn't really shoot very well against McNeese. Didn't shoot well the game before. So this made no sense. Purdue's a better shooting team so far this year than Alabama, and now they're catching point. I have no idea how this works. I think Alabama's going to win, but Purdue has been the better team so far. I know they've played closer games with better teams. So I don't know.
Closer games, better teams. I think I guess my question to you really quick, Andy, is what's your idea of Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer? Do you think that they're a dynamic duo, or do you think that they're just average point guards that happen to play at Purdue and played with Zach Edey for a year?
I think they're both really good shooters, and I think that helps them. That's why they've been so good shooting.
That's one facet of the game. Can they play defense? Because they're going to have to play defense against Alabama. You know that.
Wait a second. What about, because Purdue still has the shooters, right, Andy?
Yes. The problem has been the rebounding.
Thank you.
Rebounding's fallen off a cliff because they don't have Edey there, and Alabama is one of the best rebounding teams in the country because they have Cliff from.
They were last year as well, didn't?
Yeah, and they got better because they got Cliff from Rutgers.
What about here? What about an over?
Fast-paced teams. At least Alabama's a fast-paced team.
I was going to say Purdue plays at a crawl.
But Alabama's a fast-paced.
Yeah.
No, I'm going back to
Alabama.
Purdue.
Alabama top 10 in possession length. Purdue in the 200s.
I'm going back to Purdue.
But again, small sample size so far. I mean, Matt Painter knows what he's doing. So if he wants to run it, he can. Do you trust Purdue with the ball right now, the way that they've been turning it over, Andy? I mean, they can't rebound. They can't shoot free throws. They can't.
I thought you were asking me. I was like, I don't know. Andy, do you trust Purdue with the ball?
Honestly, I don't really trust Alabama's defense. They didn't look very good the other day either against McNeese. I mean, I know they were winning by a pretty decent amount, and then McNeese got hot. But even in that case, you can't let Purdue get on a hot streak against you. So especially, you're not going to jump out to a big lead at Mackey. I don't see that happening. So I think this will be close the entire game.
I agree with that. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a blowout either. I just feel like Alabama has too many options. Whether it's Mark Sears or Grant Nelson hasn't even played that great yet. I mean, he's sooner or later he's going to break out and have a game. Diabate is really good as well. Aiden Holloway is really good. I just feel like there's too many options for Alabama here, and a team that I trust with the ball and getting a bucket. I don't know if I do that with Purdue yet. Not with all the question marks. Again, that's just my personal opinion, though.
So I get. Someone said in the comments, it seems so obvious to pick Alabama, and we're polling at 75% Alabama. Is everyone taking Alabama? Andy, you didn't even say a pick.
I would take Purdue at 2.5.
All right.
I think this is a team that has the ball last shot type game.
All right, let's move on to the next game, which is
Also, Andy, Purdue hasn't played better schedule.
I mean, Yale's pretty good.
Okay. That's 1 to 3.
I messed up the graphic here. They're both plus 6.5. Who's supposed to be laying here?
Arizona.
All right.
I'm really curious to see what you have in this era, Andy.
Oh, these teams are literal opposites of each other. That's
I know. That's why I was wondering. And did you see that? Did you look at the box score from last year? How they both shot like 50% from deep in Arizona?
Yeah, and you have one team that's 25th in average possession length,
Like, what?
194. Like, this is, I wanted to take the over, but Wisconsin just wants to sit on the ball. The only issue that Wisconsin's had, because they're 3-0, and their wins look good because they've blown out some teams, they've gotten off to shitty starts in 2 of the 3 games. They can't do that against Arizona, and that's my fear.
100%.
Like, an Arizona first half might be the way to go for me, but I would just side Arizona the whole game. I think they're significantly more talented. The only issue would be the games in Wisconsin, but I think this is a change in pace because Wisconsin, the 3 games that they played have been against 250 or lower in pace. This is a huge jump in pace, and I don't know if they can necessarily get over that because that's a huge jump to take. This team's going to be running much faster than any of the teams they've played yet. So I would take Arizona.
Wait,
I think it was 4.5 the graphic.
yeah, the graphics is 4.5.
Yeah, I made the graphic like a half hour ago.
Oh, it is 4.5. I don't know what I'm bugging. So the graphics the graphics I made are wrong. So it's supposed to be.
I was wondering that in my head. I was like, man, did I really fuck that up like that?
No, I did. So it's 4.5, and I made the correction on the screen. So you like Arizona? I agree, Andy. Arizona, not knowing anything about the teams. Wisconsin, I'm good.
Yeah, I kind of disagree personally. Again, my opinion doesn't really mean jack shit right now, but I think this is this is a big game for Wisconsin considering they kind of got their doors blown out last year. I think again, it doesn't really matter. It's a different team, but you have an Arizona team that's going to be going on the road for the first time. And yes, I agree that if they get out to an early lead, it's going to be death to Wisconsin. But if they don't, and Wisconsin's hanging around, I think that the fact that if that would mean that Wisconsin is being able to slow this game down. And I think that they probably can be able to do that at home. Not to mention the fact that Arizona has a big game against Duke at home a week from now. They're going to be their next game. Arizona has looked really good, but they've also used a lot. I mean, they've used a lot of players. I'm not sure. And I love Tommy Lloyd. I'm just not sure if I can trust a team on the road, third game of the year against a Wisconsin team that I will give you isn't as good as the years past, but I do think that Greg Gard knows what he's doing. And if Arizona can't get out and run, they're going to have to find ways to score. And I don't really trust Caleb Love jacking up shots and what have you. KJ Lewis is another good stuff for them. But I just don't know if, again, Arizona could run them out of the gym if it's going up and down. But if not, I don't want to be in a 2-possession game with not are laying 6.5 or 4.5 or whatever it is. So again, I lean Wisconsin. I wanted to see what the number was tomorrow. Just because, not to mention the fact Wisconsin, one of the best, if not the best free throw shooting team in the country, shooting over 92% this year. Arizona can't shoot free throws for dick. I mean, again, I just think that this game is even remotely close in the second half, all the value is going to be on Wisconsin. So I would agree with Andy, though. If I play Arizona, I'd play them first half because you're going to know if they're out and running really early.
Poll says Arizona heavy. 85% of the voters said Arizona, just 12% on Wisconsin. So nobody is betting the Badgers. And from our brief 26-person sample size.
Also, Arizona has played one of, if not one of the easiest schedules in the country. Old Dominion, not even breaking the 300. Canisius in the 320s as well. Like, they've literally played nobody. Again, not that Wisconsin's playing world beaters at all. I'm just saying that they have played much better teams. Montana State and Appalachian State, I think, are significantly better than the teams I mentioned before.
This line on the next game, the last one we're going to do, this is a disrespectful line here, is it not?
You're telling me. How are we, Andy?
Outright.
I took
Yes.
the under. I took the under because the line is sketchy as hell to me. I am a huge fan of Buzz Williams and the A&M team, and I think they are very talented. Ohio State's been one of the best teams in the country.
Yeah.
You know, they ran, and I know Texas was missing their best player. They ran them off the floor in Las Vegas. They're hitting shots at an ungodly rate, which actually does scare me a little bit. But so A&M's shooting pretty damn well too. That's probably not sustainable. I took the under because both teams. This already got bet down 2 points too. It opened at 148.5. It's at 146.5 now. Both teams run slow paces. They're both due for regression shooting, and they're both turning the ball over at a pretty high rate. So that all points toward an under. The only unfortunate part is if they keep shooting at the level that they are, which I don't expect them to, especially Ohio State, because they're going to a true road game, tough environment to play. It could be tough for them. But if they both shoot the way they've shot, this is going over. But they can't. So I have the under just based off they have to regress.
Yeah. I haven't bet this yet. I was actually kind of waiting to see if maybe I was missing something here. Yeah, Texas was missing their best player, but I don't know if he comes back or if he plays. It really matters the way that Ohio State looked. I agree with Andy that Ohio State's not going to shoot 50% or whatever it is, 49.5% or whatever it is right now from deep the rest of the year. But I also will say that I also don't think that Texas A&M is going to shoot nearly 40% from deep either. So I agree. The under makes sense. Ohio State, I just feel like this game is a 2 possession game at max, and you have an Ohio State team that's proven that they can score the ball, and not to mention the fact they can shoot free throws. Again, I really pay attention to free throw shooting and rebounding in college basketball. Ohio State, one of the better teams, shooting it out nearly 78%. Texas A&M shooting it at just over 60% from the line. I feel like Ohio State can match up defensively with them. It's just a matter of how good we get a Texas A&M team that, I mean, what we've seen them from them is ups and downs. Obviously, they looked really bad against UCF. That was really bad. But against their last game against Lamar, they had 72 possessions. If this game against Ohio State is anywhere close to 70 possessions or over 70 possessions, I think Ohio State has a really good chance of winning this game. So Ohio State's defenses looked really good. They're number one in effective field goal percentage. I don't think that lasts either. But again, I don't know anybody on Texas A&M that's besides Wade Taylor that really scares you as far as scoring the ball. And I don't even know if he really scares me that much scoring either. I think it's more of a team effort with Texas A&M. So I'm very curious. I'm going to be watching this line all night. If it drops down to 6, I'll probably buy it right there. It seems to be going up, and I guess that's what's confusing to me is I don't understand how this line continues to get bigger. When I looked at this morning or this afternoon, depending on where you're at in the world, it was 4.5. It's at 6.5 now. So clearly the books are respecting whatever or whoever's Texas A&M money is coming in. I just truly don't understand it.
Yeah, I put my understanding, and again, as somebody that is not following college basketball very, very closely, my understanding is Ohio State is a brand new coach, and it's a brand new situation there, right? Mm-hmm. But they kind of shut everybody up with that, including us, when they beat Texas in the opener.
I also think that, and Andy, tell me if I'm wrong here, because you can call me crazy if you like. I think blowing out Youngstown State was a little bit underrated as well. I mean, that's not a terrible basketball team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they've had a great start to the season. They also have a kid, and I'm not going to say that SEC buildings are tough. This isn't like A&M is not an easy place to play, but it's not Tennessee, it's not Auburn. But they do have a proven SEC scorer on their roster. So they have a guy who's gone into SEC buildings and scored in Michi Johnson. So, like, I have no issue with that either. Their best scorer will be fine, but yeah, that's how I was surprised when I saw the line, so I didn't bet the line. So I just thought, no way these teams shoot the way they've shot. They both turn the ball over. They're both slow-paced teams like that.
So, I mean, I'm guessing, based on the way you guys are talking, that Ohio State's going to be a public dog in this one?
Most likely, I would guess. Although I thought the same thing about Arizona State.
And in Arizona State, the reverse line movement, the whole thing, the whole 9. Oh, yeah, dude.
And they just ran them all.
Absolutely disgusting.
Well, Ohio State for me. And
I honestly feel like if you're getting CLV, it's not a good thing in this sport right now because everything is so backwards. I'm not even making a joke. I'm dead serious.
It's been off to a weird start.
And that's not me losing because I've been hitting live. I'm just saying, like, you look at the lines. I mean, there's lines moving 5, 6, 7 points, and they're not even coming close to where they're moving. So,
all right, let's see what the community's favorite bet is of the 4 games we just did. The community was pretty one-sided on all of these polls, so they liked Florida -5. All right. What's your out of these 4 games that we chose for this stream? What's your guys' favorite side?
There's even the other games I think I put in for tomorrow are Marquette, Maryland. That's a sick game.
I played Maryland -2.
I saw you with that one.
It's at 1.5 now.
TCU, Michigan, underrated game tomorrow. TCU snuck by Texas State. We're doing Alabama, Purdue again because I know Scoop wants to talk about that one.
Who cares what Scoop wants?
Yeah, I know.
How can he be in the Discord and typing, but he can't be on the show? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, he said he couldn't be on the show. He's sitting here in the chat the whole goddamn time.
I kept myself back from putting Georgia Tech. I know everyone wants to hear about that one, but didn't need that one.
As long as Georgia's playing well, you can put him on the show whenever you like, Andy. I'll be putting Gonzaga on the show.
Favorite tomorrow in Atlanta. Interesting.
I'm just saying. I also played Virginia Villanova under 129.5.
Dude. I can't believe that game is like that's the mid bowl. That was the those
I know.
From 5 years ago.
Nah, I'm telling you, Virginia's gonna have a bounce back year. Wow.
I'm more saying Villanova's unwatchable right now.
I can't even argue with you because all the bullshit you said on these shows have all came to fruition so far. So congratulations.
Not just a handsome face. There's wisdom behind.
I don't remember what the first midnight show we did. He said, "Oh, it was Vanderbilt." That was 2 days ago.
Yeah, it was Mandy, and then it's LSU. And
someone says, "Let's talk about."
That's the worst team in the SEC.
Someone said, "Let's talk about the Paul Tyson fight to annoy Sauce."
Well, it's just Paul Tyson's fight's really simple, guys. It's just like Mayweather weekend. You bet Jake Paul, and you collect your money at the end of the fight. It's fixed. As soon as I saw Mike Tyson slap him today, I knew it was fixed.
He slapped him?
That was absolutely egregious. I know Andy saw it because I can tell by his smile.
Wait, Mike Tyson slapped Jake Paul?
Slapped him right.
Yes. And it was it was literally looked like
WWE. It's WWF wrestling, man.
Yeah, it looked exactly what it looked like.
I'd love to see Tyson get one more shot at the title.
He's like 70.
Like, it's so clickbait. Like, even Netflix is posting things on their Instagram with Mike Tyson grabbing his crotch. Like, it's just so WWE. It's ridiculous.
I lost interest in a lot of combat sports when Dana White started holding the fighters back at the weigh-ins. Like, as if they were going to brawl at the weigh-in. Like, and even if they were going to brawl, which they are not, because that would be assault charges if they brawled at the weigh-in. But even if they were going to brawl, as if Dana White could hold them back. Like, well, it doesn't even make sense. Dana White's like holding them back. I'm like, dude, this is just like, what is this?
That guy's 400 pounds. If he wants to beat the shit out of him, Dana White's not.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, would it like, okay, they're obviously not going to do anything at the weigh-ins because, like I said, that would be an assault charge. But even if they were, what would Dana White holding them back even accomplish? Like, what even is that?
Not to mention the ring girls are in there and stuff.
All right.
Comments. Somebody made a great point in the comments.
What?
I didn't hear it. I can't see it.
The Georgia game.
North Florida?
Georgia's 1 point favorites tomorrow. They just blew out North Florida, who beat Georgia Tech at Georgia Tech. Why is Georgia only favored by 1?
Because they're not a good basketball team. Question answered.
Interesting.
I just think if you objectively look, I'm sure the books see the same thing as I do, is Mike White's a career loser. And it's really hard to actually be able to put
I believe beating
points with that. So I don't know.
Actually, I think
in all seriousness, no, I don't know. The North Florida stuff, I don't know. We'll see.
Was it just were they just hot going into Atlanta?
Yeah, let's again. I don't think that Georgia Tech is good at all.
No, objectively looking at it, I think Georgia runs them off the floor tomorrow.
I was gonna say, not to mention, what's the pace of that game gonna be like? Keep in mind that Georgia Tech game, what they have 90 possessions or something like that. So I mean, let me check. Oh, 82. I'm sorry, I was a little bit off, but the point still stands.
All right, I have some more college football to record tonight, so I have to go. Andy, I'm sending you Chiefs Bills. That's recorded. Can you edit that before you pass out tonight?
Oh yeah.
All right, cool, because I'd like to upload that one tonight. I have a bet in that one, and it's a good video. So send me a text when you finish that edit and put it in the Dropbox.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you. Everyone, have a good night. See you all tomorrow, 4 p.m. for NBA, college football, and college basketball. It's a loaded Friday night, so we'll live stream at the normal time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Have a good night. Please remember to